All right, this is awesome. I'm here with my good friend, Vladimir Schwartzman. I got to tell you really quick how we met. Sue and I were with our youngest son, Joseph, on a project. And to complete that project, we trespassed on someone's property. It was Vladimir. And he was so kind. He first came out and informed us that we were trespassing. And I admitted to it. And I think that admission kind of helped in the process of us becoming friends. So immediately, Vladimir then said, well, you're my guest, so you're no longer trespassing.
Absolutely.
And I don't know how long ago that was.
That
10,
was about
12 years ago?
About 18 years ago.
Was it that long ago?
That long ago. About 18 years ago.
So
I was much younger, you too.
So I probably had some hair back then.
Probably.
Yeah, but we've become really good friends. And when this Ukraine-Russian conflict came up, I called Vladimir and we chatted for half hour, 45 minutes the other day. And he agreed to express his understanding, tell us a little bit about the background of Ukraine, which was part of the USSR when you were there, and maybe some insights as to where we are with all this. Now, the other thing I wanted to bring up is just a little bit about that I know about Vladimir, and if you want to add some. So, Vladimir was born. Actually, you tell us a brief history of your background.
I was born in Kiev, which is capital of Ukraine. And strangely enough, Kiev is considered as mother of old Russian cities. Go figure out. That's how it started, Kievan Rus.
Can I ask you, is it Kiev or Kiev?
Kiev.
Kiev.
Kiev. There were three brothers, Ki, Shchek, and Horiv. And they founded the Kiev, and his sister Libid. And they found Kiev. And it was long time ago. Moscow was founded in 1147, and Kiev was in existence for at least 600 years before that.
Do you mind telling how old you are?
Yes, I was born in 1938 BC. So this year I will be 84.
84 this year.
But I already skied 72 days this year.
Amazing. Amazing.
So that is where I was born and raised. I remember every stone in this city. I remember my childhood, and I left when I was left for Belarus.
That's just north, right?
North and west.
North and west of Kiev. Okay.
And I went to Belarus, to city of Minsk, capital of Belarus, when I was 19. And there I went to medical school, and that's my background, okay?
Then from there you went to Jerusalem?
From Minsk in 1971, I left for Israel, Jerusalem. Mm-hmm. I stayed there for close to 1 year. Then I left for England, London, England, and I stayed there a little bit over 1 year. And then I came here as a British immigrant. How do you like that?
And are you an American?
Immediately, because I started to work on my third day of arrival. As a matter of fact, I was still employed as a registrar, which is senior, at orthopedic department at Guy's Hospital in London. And I asked my friends to take my call days. That's how I left earlier. And when I was in America, I still was doctor, orthopedic surgeon at Guy's Hospital in London. But I started to work on my third day of arrival.
That is amazing.
And,
And
one week later, I got my green card in the mail.
in the mail.
Yeah.
And you and I have talked about this, but you are proud to be an American at this point.
It's not only proud, I'm extremely happy.
You're happy. I
And
see. I
let
love
me
that.
tell you something. That's good that you ask, because I'm not pro-Russian. I'm not pro-Ukrainian. I have my point of view, and you're very free to disagree with that.
Yeah.
Because I am famous for tolerating other people's opinion very, very well. And actually, I like when somebody disagree with me. And I'm pro-American and pro my wife Natalia. That's it.
Wife in America. That's as good as it
My
gets.
family. That's
Yeah,
all it is.
it's family. Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. Vladimir, this I know, he is I don't know if you would call it the inventor or the developer of many orthopedic processes that are still in use today, and he's the originator of many of them, right?
Well, yeah. The thing is that it's a new technique that made big impact, if not revolution, in trauma, in big trauma, in cases that were deemed for amputation. But we were able to say, and the author of the technique is Siberian orthopedic surgeon who came to America in 1986. And I was probably the first one who started to use this technique in trauma. And then I developed at least two procedures, those procedures. And
Yeah, that's
but
awesome.
now I'm retired. I'm doing wood turning and skiing.
He does wood turning, amazing. Let me just look at some of these. And these are the. I mean, there's a ring here. This is like not glued together. This is,
Capture 3.
yeah, it's incredible what he does. And then he's a ski bum.
Good
No,
skier.
yeah, good skier. And weren't you a gymnast and being trained to be on the
Yes.
Russian Olympic team?
Well, no.
No? Okay.
I was a gymnast. I competed internationally. And I'm Master of Sport of the USSR, the highest degree.
The USSR.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But instead of going further in my career and trying Olympics, I went to medical school.
Yeah, good choice.
I think so.
Yeah, but he's still ripped. He's still buff. I tell you, the guy's amazing. Okay, so now we're going to get into the topic at hand. And I've asked Vladimir to just give us a brief history of Ukraine, its relationship to the surrounding areas, Russia itself, and then maybe more of your thoughts of the current conflict that's going on and why and what to look for. I'm a person that I'm and the audience knows I don't really believe a lot of what I see on TV anymore.
Good for you.
Yeah. So I go to people that have some experience and some
Well,
understanding.
once again, this is my private opinion.
Yeah.
Everybody should have opinion. Everybody should have opinion that reflects their personality and life experience.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
What I know is that to begin with, I couldn't understand what is going on. Nobody could understand. Nobody could understand. We had Soviet Union, evil empire. Okay?
The bad guys.
Bad guys, clearly bad guys. There's no more evil empire since 1991. No Cold War. Here we are in the same situation as we had 30 years ago. Russia does the same thing. Expansion conquering, not obeying to previously signed diplomatic, political papers. When they need to break something, they do. That's what happened. All of a sudden, they are freeing suffering Russians in Donetsk and Lugansk.
And that would be the east
It will
side
be
of where
east-
Ukraine is right
yeah,
now.
it's in the border.
Okay.
I was in Donetsk and I was in Lugansk. I remember those cities. A lot of people speak Russian. A lot of people speak Ukrainian. There was never animosity between Russians and Ukrainians.
We just got along.
Just got along, people, a lot of intermarriages, a lot of friendships, and nobody would ask anybody, are you Russian or you Ukrainian? They will come and say, do you have a drill? Can I borrow your, can I borrow your something? But nobody was interested in that. Nobody, as far as I remember, as far as I know. That's Russian politics, expansionism, clearly to the detriment of both Ukrainian and Russians. Now, I'm not bad-mouthing Russian protecting Ukrainians, but how Ukraine started, as I said, Kiev, the mother of all Russian cities, as it was considered for a long time, and it is. And Ukraine, what is Ukraine? Ukraine started, actually Ukraine never had statehood. It was a couple of brief periods that Ukraine had statehood. But they started as they in their anthem we have Cossacks blood. So they think that they started with Zaporozhskaya Sich. It means the small enclave below the rapids in Dnieper River, and they collected a bunch of people of different nationalities, actually.
When would this have been about?
I would say it's 15th, 16th century.
Okay. Okay.
And they had their language, which was close to Slavonic.
Speaking of languages, how many do you speak and which ones do you speak or
I
understand?
speak one English bad. Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch.
Your English is awesome. But seriously, just so
I
they know.
speak Ukrainian.
Ukrainian.
I speak Belarusian. I understand Polish, Bulgarian, Serbian. I understand those languages, but also I spoke quite decent Spanish and I spoke Italian, but two weak languages collided in my head and didn't leave anything.
But you can communicate and understand
I
pretty
can
much.
communicate.
Yeah.
I lived in Jerusalem for close to 1 year. And before going to Jerusalem, I kind of secretly was studying Hebrew. When I came to Israel, I knew about 500 words, but I couldn't talk.
And you do have some Jewish
Yeah,
blood background in you, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And another thing, they don't have vowels.
Right.
So I could speak very good, very well, but I couldn't write and read. They say, why? I said, I don't blame those games without vowels. But then I learned Slavonic. It's a church English, church Russian,
Oh,
old Russian.
okay.
And they don't have vowels either.
So, well, I just wanted to bring that up because if someone is able to connect the dots through language, it's huge because I'm at a huge disadvantage. I speak English and I don't do it very well, but that's all I understand. I can pick up a little bit of Spanish here and there, but I think this is critical in our discussion today, is that Vladimir not only has an understanding of the geographic area, the history of the area, which we'll get right back to, but the languages, which is huge. Because as you know, every time there's a translation from one thing to another, there's a little bit lost. And what Vladimir brings to the table is an understanding, because he understands the different languages. There's really nothing lost in the translation of what he's trying to convey. Like you say, it's your opinion, but you're able to convey your opinion because you understand all these languages.
I also understand very well Russians, and I understand Ukrainians.
Yeah.
And
Okay, so let's get back to that history then.
And I know that everybody is. How could it be? Two brothers are fighting. I have news for you. Those two brothers were fighting for centuries.
That's right.
For centuries. And it's not only that, but what those Cossacks in that enclave below the rapids in River Dnieper, they were siding with Livonia. They were siding with Poland. They were siding with Turkish Sultanate against Russians. And there are famous Ukrainian leaders like Doroshenko, who was with Turks mostly, than with Russians. Another thing, in 1654, Ukrainian leader, Hetman, that's in Ukrainian, joined Russia. He petitioned to Tsar Alexis, father of Peter the Great, to join with Russia, to protect Russia, to be semi-autonomous region in Russia. But he had the same petition ready to be sent to Poland and to Turkish Sultan, and then for political things. Besides, when they were blessing this union between Russia and Ukraine, he started to read what Russians wrote, and he stormed out of the church. Didn't sign it. That's how it was signed. People don't know that. But majority of Ukrainian Cossacks said, no, we would like to be with Russia. And that's how. After that, they were fighting. There were many traitors that in the midst of war went to
back and forth.
opposite side. The best known is Ivan Mazepa. In 1709, it was a big battle between Karl XII and Peter the Great, Poltava. And the Ukrainian chief Mazepa sided with Swedes.
Really?
Yes.
What was the size of that Ukraine?
Ukraine was a little bit thick.
Wasn't it this is tiny?
Yeah. Ukraine, if you look at the current map of Ukraine,
it's pretty big.
Pretty big. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why in a second.
Okay. They say it's about the size. It's bigger than Texas, the state of Texas now.
The biggest European state.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was, if you look at the present map, the original, so to speak, poorly defined territory of Ukrainian semi-autonomous area, proto-state, not state, proto-state, was probably 1/9 of present Ukraine.
Isn't that amazing? 1/9.
Now,
and this would be in the early 1700s.
It was even less at that time.
Yeah.
So
okay.
anyway, we were talking about fights, but there is a big river in Europe, Dnieper. Okay, and that was a one way that Vikings, Varangians, went from north to Byzantium. Okay?
On that river.
On that river. That was the way from Varangian to Greeks. And, so that river, Dnieper, divides left bank and right bank. So Ukrainian people on the left bank fought always people on the right bank.
Oh.
And as a matter of fact, they had two Ukrainian chiefs, left bank and right bank.
A chief for each bank.
Or chief for each bank. And it's Levoberezhnaya, Pravoberezhnaya, it's in Russian.
Where would that river, so if I'm looking at a map of Ukraine now.
Kiev on this river.
Okay.
Kherson on this river.
So it comes right.
And it comes to the Black Sea.
Okay,
and
all right.
Black Sea.
Got it.
And that was the thing.
Okay.
And now first chiefs, because people of Kiev and the other provinces were fighting each other. So finally, in 8th century, they petitioned to Vikings, come and rule over us. So the first was Rurik. Rurik is a Varangian name. So he came, and one of his military leader was Oleg. That's what Russians say. But he's not Oleg. He's Heleg. All Varangian names. And the last Rurik was Ivan the Terrible.
Gosh, I had no idea that the Vikings had that influence.
Vikings. So there was Prince Igor in Russian, famous, and there is opera about him. Ingvar, Sviatoslav, his son, Svengard, Olga, Heleg, Vladimir, Valdemar. There are 3 Valdemars kings in Denmark. Number 1, number 2, number 3. So the fights were always there. And as I mentioned already in history, was Mazepa, was Doroshenko, who sided with Russian enemies all the time. Only in 1775, Catherine the Great actually disbanded this territory. And Ukraine was never a state, was a proto-state.
What do you mean by proto-state?
It's not state, it's autonomous region. It was a region, a territory. So with the 3rd division of Poland, it came into Russian Empire.
Okay.
And Catherine the Great said, no more. Then they said Crimea is their territory. No, Crimea was conquered by Prince Potemkin, Tavrida.
And Crimea, it's that peninsula that comes down into the Black Sea.
Yeah.
And it's right at the south end of what Ukraine is, but it's a big peninsula that comes out.
Crimea, historically, it was the descendants of Genghis Khan.
Really?
Yeah, descendants of Genghis Khan was the last rulers of Crimea Khanate. And the last Russian Tsar who paid ransom, not ransom, the tribute, all yearly tribute to Crimean Tartars was Peter the Great.
Oh, okay.
Long.
When was that? That was in 17 something?
That was, Peter the Great died in 1725, and he was enthroned in 1680. So,
wow.
16, something like that.
Okay,
86,
wow, okay.
In that time. So it has nothing to do with Ukraine. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely. The same city of Odessa. It's a Porto Franco, established by Prince Potemkin, Catherine the Great time.
And Odessa
is
on the west, south and west
of
part
Crimea.
of
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a big port.
And it's right by the it's a
Black
port
Sea.
of the Black Sea.
It's the biggest port in Black Sea.
Okay. What's the climate of that area?
Fantastic.
That's what I've heard.
Fantastic.
And that's
it's
why
the best place. You know, Joseph Broz Tito, Yugoslavian leader, loved Crimea, and he used to be there almost every year until was afraid of Stalin, that Stalin will kill him.
Thought he better get out of
They
there.
have huge castles, fantastic castles. Crimea is a jewel, is absolutely jewel. The big mountain Ipetri coming right into the water, and it's clean, used to be. It's beautiful. Now, Crimean War. What Ukrainians have to do with Crimean War? Nothing. Sevastopol, it's an old Greek colony, old Greek city, by name even, okay? And it was period of Hellenization when Greeks started to move around, to Hellenize, make it Greek. I know Crimea very well. For years and years I was going every summer there. But that is in Russia. Khrushchev, what did Khrushchev? He just gave Crimea to Ukraine.
Yeah, when was that?
It was 1954.
1954.
I think, yes, 1954.
So fairly recent history where and why do you think that happened?
For political reason for that. Now, Ukraine is big. After revolution, the big parts of Russian territory were given to Ukraine by Vladimir Lenin.
By Lenin.
For no reason except political expediency, political reasoning, but it's not Ukrainian territory. They have nothing to do. In Tsar's time, Ukraine was not autonomous, was nothing. It was territory. It was Kiev region, Kherson region, like anything else, It was territory. And then after revolution, what happened? Statehood. It didn't last for a long time, very short. And then it was fake independence from Soviet, totally fake.
Yeah.
And once again, left and right were fighting. That's why Russia claims that Ukrainian nationalists are abusing Russian population. Maybe there are some incidents, you cannot deny that. But among those was famous leader of Ukrainian nationalists, Stepan Bandera, who wanted independence for Ukraine. When Hitler marched into Soviet Union, Stepan Bandera and his volunteers welcomed him with open arms. And they cooperated with Hitler.
So these were leaders of
Ukrainian nationalistic
who
to fight
welcomed
fight for independent Ukraine from Soviet Union.
Wow.
Okay?
Okay.
And they fought, and they immediately welcomed Hitler, and immediately announced that they were fighting with Nazis against Russians. Hitler didn't like it, and immediately he didn't want independent Ukraine. He wanted Ukraine under his boot.
Sure.
And he put Bandera in prison. and he remained in prison until 1943 or 44, and then he released him again to fight Russians. And only 10 years after the war, those Ukrainian militaristic, nationalistic groups were subdued by Russian in 1955, 10 years after. It was a dangerous area to travel to western parts of Ukraine, especially if you speak Russian.
Okay. All right.
And they culturally they more related to Lithuania, Latvia, and Poland than to Russians. That's what it is.
Okay, so we've got about maybe 10, 15 minutes left.
Oh, I made too much of
No, no.
You can do another one.
No, we're going to get it all done here. This is so good. So, this is so important, I think, to know the background, the conflicts, the different countries, the different alliances. All these things have, you can't just go to 2022 right now and go, well, what's going on, without having some background in all this. So now if we can fast forward to what happened in, so we have Crimea in 1994,
1954.
So let's go from, actually, you know what, we do need to talk, well, you already touched on it, World War II, the Nazis coming in, we got that. So let's go to 1994 and talk about Crimea and what happened there, and then get right up to speed with another Vladimir, Putin, and Zelensky, and let's see if we can make some sense. We might not be able to, but at least you can give your opinion on that. So can we do that?
If we can make sense, let's.
Yeah, we might not be able
relate it
to.
to Russians. Maybe they will come to their senses too.
Let's hope.
It's very difficult to make sense because Ukraine wants independence, and probably they should have independence. They want it. Why not? But Russia, for strategic reasons, for political reasons, wants Ukraine. First of all, it's a very rich country. Second, Crimea is a strategic point.
That's what
If you lose Crimea, then strategically, Black Sea is not yours. And Putin did that one. As far as Donetsk, Lugansk, and other areas that were given to Ukraine by Bolsheviks, by Lenin and Khrushchev, and so on and so forth, it's still Russian territory. People don't even speak Ukrainian there. And
so Putin might have.
Putin already said, if you want to leave the Soviet Union organization, or ex-Soviet, then leave with what you had before. Don't take our territories. So he's clearly saying that he wants those territories. He wants it back. For what reason? I have no clue. Because those two countries are two richest countries in the world. And it's impossible for centuries and centuries and centuries to have a good life there. I was in Japan 11 times. Japan has nothing.
No resources.
No resources. The best thing they have is earthquakes and typhoons. And yet, Japan every time amazed me with beautiful organization and industrialization after the Marshall Plan, after World War II. In spite of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, you look at Detroit, what was Detroit in 30s and 40s, and look at Detroit looks now, it looks worse than Hiroshima and Nagasaki together.
Yeah.
You know, the same. Who is doing what? And I was in Hiroshima, and I passed Nagasaki. Beautiful cities, clean. Nothing there. Look at Israel. I spent 1 year in Israel. What is there? Brown desert.
Rocks. Lots of rocks.
Jordan, yeah. You can jump over the river in 2 hops. That's water. Nothing there, and yet it sells radish, potatoes, strawberries to Russia, where Russia has the richest soil in the world. And they have this hydroponics on, I don't know what about it. But that's what it is. It's how people organize. So Russia and Ukraine has everything. Why not to take care of your people? Why not to make sure that they live not in communal flats? Like they live in houses, you know? I wouldn't dream to live in a house like that 50 years ago. You know? So that's the thing. So Putin has ambitions. Putin has ambitions.
He has ambitions. He's studied history.
He's smart.
He's smart.
Very
He's not
smart.
a crazy, like a lunatic kind of person, like some people would say. He might have not the best intentions, but he's not a crazy person. Would that be right to say?
Yes, generally yes, but I have reservation because he maybe was not crazy, but at some
But
point
maybe now
maybe
he
he
could
turned
be.
crazy. When he wants to conquer Ukraine, when he wants to go and kill people, I don't care. They are nationalists, they are separatists, they whatever label you stick on them. I don't want to kill people, period.
Yeah.
I don't want to solve problems by machine guns, rockets, and when he says that we'll put our nuclear arsenal on high alert, that doesn't sit well in micro. And when Zelensky, President of Ukraine, says, I don't care about Budapest agreement for denuclearization of Ukraine, and we made a mistake, but we can make it back, we can make nuclear weapons, I treat him the same way. No, Mr. Zelensky, we don't want you to have nuclear weapons, okay? We are with you until you say things like that.
So what we need to do is get you to negotiate with Zelensky and Vladimir Putin and come to an agreement. We need a guy like you.
No, I need you to negotiate with me, and then we'll send it down
And then we'll send Natalia
to the... This is crazy.
and Sue.
This
Yeah.
is crazy, so of course. But this is crazy, to kill people who speak the same language. Soldiers say, I don't know whom to kill, they are just like us. They're just like us. Now, I can understand when Vladimir Schwarzman came to America and they say, Vladimir, are you KGB spy? I say, yes. I'm different. I have an accent. So that's different. And we don't like difference.
That's it.
We don't like different. We need to educate yourself to do that. But Ukrainians and Russians, they have 49% of Ukrainians have relatives in Russia, statistically.
So virtually half. So
Do they need independence? Yes. Austria and Germany, independent states, speak German. Österreich in Deutschland. Fine. Why is not, why? What's the problem? What's the problem? Spain and Mexico speak Spanish. England and Canada, America, Australia speak
English.
English.
different
Yes,
countries,
yes,
independent.
yes, yeah. Ukraine wants to be independent. Yes, sure. Why not? Why not? But they are not the same as Russians. Ukrainians are Ukrainians. Belarusians are Belarusians. Russians are Russians. It doesn't mean that they have to go into war and then disturb everything in the world.
It affects the whole world.
Yes, that's what I am worrying as American.
Yeah.
I don't like when Zelensky says that he will get nuclear weapons. I don't like Putin with his nuclear arsenal.
Well, I'll tell you, I think what we all agree on is that innocent lives should not be
No lives
on the
should-
table. They shouldn't be taken.
No
They shouldn't be
lives-
affected.
yeah.
It's
No.
just not right. Everybody should be blessed with and it's so interesting what you said. I think one of the things that I've really learned on this is that some of the most blessed lands, fertile and wonderful, are the most disputed and wasted because of
Totally.
war.
Totally.
Where some of the least favorable lands are producing, which shows us that our God-given freedoms and liberties can produce, with God's help, can produce any good thing anywhere if we're good souls, if we're good people, if we're taking
Correct.
care of each other.
Correct.
And yet we can have this beautiful fertile land that we fight over, and it won't produce a thing.
In Ukraine, if you take a dry stick and stick it in the soil, it will flourish in the spring. I know Ukraine. I'm from there. I traveled when I was a kid from Kiev to Kherson. We used to row in a boat, hooking to the barge and going upstream back, fishing for food, going to collective farms and saying, hey, do you need any laborers? We'll come and work for you for what? For food. Oh yeah, sure. Come on, boys. That was life. Not anymore.
No.
Not anymore.
So sad.
Not anymore.
Well,
And Russian churches and Russian castles and Russian monasteries are not really, no, Ukrainian things that in Kiev are Russians. St. Sophia, Pecherskaya Lavra, Kirillovsky Monastery, everything. It's Russian. It's Russian. St. Vladimir Church, cathedral actually, was built by Russians in Kiev. So what?
there's a Russian Orthodox church in South Jordan, Utah.
I was there.
Yeah, so what? Yeah.
You know, this is very private. You do whatever you want. God is one for all of us. Period.
I totally agree. And I think that's probably where we'll end this. We have to find more ways to get along than ways to separate or
Let me-
find
let-
our differences.
I still, you know, my father's childhood friend was a professor in seminary in Kiev. Oldest seminary in Russia. Oldest.
Russian Orthodox.
Russian Orthodox.
Okay.
Now they say Ukrainian Orthodox. And I keep asking, what's the difference between Ukrainian Orthodox and Russian Orthodox? What? They have kind of constipated look to explain it. What's the difference? I can understand difference between Armenian and Russian. I can understand difference between Greek Orthodox and Russian Orthodox, you know. It's a different things. Although Christianity came to Russia from Greeks, from Byzantium. But now there's difference, of course. Eastern Orthodox. We're not going into religion because I'm We're going to turn.
Do you, to end here, do you, what are your thoughts on a hope that there can be a peaceful resolve to this? Is there any hope, or
Yes.
there is? What do you see?
Okay,
what
number
what
one-
possibilities could happen that there could be a?
Was a beautiful Ukrainian poetess. And she wrote, she was sick with tuberculosis, mortally sick, and she wrote a poem, Contra spem spero, I hope against hope. And that's what I'm hoping right now. Contra spem spero. It's a Latin thing, but in Ukrainian it's beznadії сподіваюсь.
And say that, what does it mean again?
She was hoping against hope
Hoping-
that she will survive and so on. And the same is here, because leaders who cannot achieve compromise and telling us they are seeking the truth. You know, Putin is seeking the truth. He's protecting Russians that don't need any protection in Ukraine. And Ukrainians are telling, no, we are the truth. They should seek compromise.
Yes.
And compromise means, it doesn't mean truth, your truth or your truth. It's compromise. They should learn, and it's a failure to achieve peaceful solution. And you know, if I failed something in my profession, I would be fired. Now, you got my hint. Those politicians who fail to do something, instead of going to war, should be fired.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Well, that's where we're going to end it today. This has been such a treat. Thank you, Vladimir. You're a dear friend, and your knowledge and understanding has been so helpful to me, and I hope it's been helpful to you all. And
you
do you have
don't-
anything else to add?
No, just don't agree with me with everything. Have your own opinion, and please tolerate other people very different opinions, because that's humanity.
That's humanity. All right. Thank you. On that, we will say goodbye.